So here's a question for you, men, today as we journey together. What would happen if we had men today who valued the treasures of heaven more than the treasures of earth? It would change America. It would change the world. I like this phrase that has guided my life, challenged my life. Am I going to be a man who focuses my life purpose on making money or making disciples? Making dollars or making disciples? That's the question. Now, can you make both? Do you need to make both? Yes, we need dollars to buy bread and food, clothes, shelter for our family. But the challenge that we're in today is that a lot of times we make the Genesis curse, the loving, disciplined curse of our God there in the garden from our sin, we make the curse worse. Instead of just toiling by the sweat of our brow in the thorny garden for our food and our clothing and our basic needs, we make the curse worse through our idolatry, through wanting more and more and more, and our appetites are so inflamed that we begin to think that that's all we need. We got to just make more to provide for what our family needs in this world. And what happens is you reap what you sow. If you sow to the flesh, you will reap from the flesh. But if you don't, if you don't sow to the Spirit, you're not going to reap from the Spirit. How many men today are actually giving their life to being men who value the role of being a husband, of being a father? From my experience, I see a lot of men who love their kids, but don't love being a father. Who value maybe a baby when it comes along, but don't understand the value of the role they're going to have in leading that baby's life. Men, today I want to ask you a question. Are you willing to journey up the heights of God's contentment? Are you willing to journey up and say, I'm going to courageously define who I am as a man in the Lord Jesus Christ, regardless of what my world says about my manhood? Because if you do choose the journey up, and you choose to focus any amount of your strength in your life on making disciples, it will impact how you make dollars. Jesus does not ultimately want you rich in this world. He wants you rich in eternity. And so if he's blessed you with money in this world, you will need to work very hard to worship him with that money, to give back to him with your time, with your talents, with your tithes, to make sure that your heart has not been taken captive as so many men's hearts have through greed. Now, you might think I'm just speaking about men who have millions of dollars. I've never had millions of dollars at one time in my life. And yet the Lord has exposed to me that I'm a very greedy man. I'm a very covetous man. And that covetousness is something he's cutting through in my life. And you know one of the things he's using to cut through? It's my children. I know some of you today listening are men like me who have a lot of children. And maybe when you started having children, you were excited about the journey. You thought, man, the Lord has blessed me. And then you began to see that sometimes these heavenly blessings do impact your earthly blessings. And you have maybe begun to get a little bit frustrated, if not bitter, if not even angry, that these children are holding you back from what you want to have. I'm speaking to you, and I'm speaking to me. I'm telling you that, men, that's one of the ploys of the devil. He comes along and he tries to devour and steal our joy by getting us to think that life is more important in this world than it is for all eternity. And men, if you've been blessed with souls today, the soul of your wife and your children to care for, you need to know the value there is so far more eternal than anything you might have in your bank account right now. Do you value these souls enough to journey up, to let God fill your heart with a contentment that would overflow with courage in the face of a world that says you're only a man if you have this? Are you willing to look to your Father in heaven and say, I'm willing to receive whatever you want me to have in this world and be a man of courage to lead my family up your heights, heights that value making disciples more than making dollars? It's going to be a journey, and the Lord is going to support us along the way. And hey, he's given us each other too. Let's journey together, men. Blessings on you. Bye-bye.